Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Geek Show's continuing look at Shenmue and Shenmue II. Now, this time we're looking at Shenmue II, but we're starting off with a scene from the first game. Now, in the scene, obviously, you have Ryo's dad teaching him a certain move from their particular style of jiu-jitsu. And this kind of represents a lot of what the game is about now. The first game was basically a martial arts murder mystery, as the second game is. But in the first game, a lot of the emphasis was on hunting around for clues to try and track down the people who killed your dad, to try and chase Lan Di down, everything like that. The scene shifts now to Ryo going across the sea to Hong Kong, and obviously this is the actual intro to the game, with the boats and the plane, and there you can see Hong Kong just in the distance. The water effects are really good. Now, they weren't this good on the original Dreamcast version. This is basically an upscaled version of the original Dreamcast game, and as with the first game, you can see that they've basically tweaked certain bits of the graphics so that there's not that shimmering that you got with the original version. And they've also enhanced a couple of the effects and made things look nicer and better. Now, one of the common misconceptions is that the original game wasn't in HD. It actually was. It's just they didn't have the power or the capability to do the kind of level of graphics that we have now. If you look at games like Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza 6 and various other games, The Witcher, that sort of character animation was something that was only in a fledgling state when these games came out. But Shenmue and Shenmue 2 do really well with them. You can tell by the character models that you're seeing in front of you, even though this game was more advanced than the original game and a lot bigger than the original game in terms of the area it covered, it's still quite, compared to today's standards, it's still quite primitive, but there is a lot to do. Now, one of the things that happened in the first game, and I'm not sure how many people actually picked up on this. If you did pick up on what I'm about to say, leave us a comment below, whether you agree or disagree, let me know. But in the first game, it felt like Ryo was becoming more and more like Lan Di. He was becoming colder, he was becoming more efficient, he was suppressing his emotions in order to achieve his goal of revenge. Now, that is something that's actually addressed to a degree in the second game, but we'll get to that in a bit. This is your first starting point, and you need to find Wan Chai. Now, Wan Chai is an area of Hong Kong. And the first thing that happens as soon as you go past, this is an event that happens automatically. You can skip through this if you don't want to carry on with it, but I always pay them whenever I play this game because it's just a nice thing that I do. But anyway, you can get directions to Wan Chai from these musicians, and this gives you a good idea of what the game is like now. It's a lot brighter. It did have bright elements in the first game, but now that you're in Hong Kong, it's a big city, whereas you were in the small town of Yokosuka. Now you're in the big city. Everything's a lot more flamboyant. Everything is a lot more vibrant. It's brasher, it's bolder. Given the characters that you see, when you try and walk past them, they're all trying to help you out, but also make some money on the side. Especially this guy who calls you handsome. I know that I'm not handsome. Ryo is a handsome fella. Now, this woman here, this is a bit that you don't actually see in any of the games. there was an incident involving, I can't remember his name, the guy you fight in the arcade in the first game, the one with the bandages around his arms and legs. You fight him again on the ship, and he actually holds the girl hostage. And this, if I remember rightly, was in a comic that came, that was part of the Xbox version of the game. I think I'm remembering that right, but if you can remember correctly for me, let me know. But anyway, that's how you know the little girl, and that's what she's referring to. Which I always thought that was a nice little touch, you know? But anyway, one of the first things that you want to do when you get into Hong Kong, you'll notice that there's these maps that are for sale. Buy them. They are a big help. Once you buy a map, you'll immediately notice that there is a difference on the display in front of you. This map is for the Workers' Pier, but there are maps for other areas of the Hong Kong region. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the map. Now, it's not a great map, but it does do the job. Everybody can be spoken to in this game, and that's one of the things that has always surprised me about the Shenmue games. You can literally speak to everybody. You can ask everybody a question. That's one of the things that is truly surprising, because it's on the Dreamcast and you wouldn't think of it. Now, this is a bit of a pro tip for you. As soon as you get off the ferry and go past the events, go to these capsule toys and spend all of your money on them, right? Buy as many of them as you can. Burn all your money, because, well, there's an event that happens shortly after this which really sets you on the ringer, and that's you get your money stolen, you get your bag stolen, and the money all gets used up. Now, you chase down the lad who's done it, obviously this little git who's nicked your bag. As you can see, I'm still not very good at the quick time events, even though I know that they're going to happen. But Ryo chases him down, and yeah, again, failure from me. But you do eventually catch up to him, and even though I knock people off ladders and stuff like that, I do eventually catch up to him, and it does lead to a fight with his compatriots who also had a hand in stealing your bag. Now, eventually you do get your bag back, but you've basically got to work for it. You know, this game does make you work for your goals, and it does make you work a lot more than the first game did. The first game was a great introduction. It was a great bit of exposition for the world that Shenmue is in. But this game actually does expect you to understand the rules of the game now. It doesn't really try to explain things to you. It just lets you dive straight in, because if you're playing it, then you must have played the first game. The other thing about this as well, though, is that the people you're fighting now, they seem to be of a higher level than they were in the first game. As you can see, they can do moves like that. Whereas in the first game, you were just generally fighting random thugs, but now you're actually fighting characters who can dodge and move around and do those kicks, and also use weapons. You do eventually win. It's a fairly easy fight, so that's not something that you need to worry about. But this is what I'm talking about here. This is where you can see just how much Ryo is becoming like Lan Di, when he starts choking the guy just because he wants his bag back. Now, if that isn't a sign that Ryo is becoming colder, then I don't know what is. But there is a way to alleviate that, and this game does address that, and I think it's a credit to Yu Suzuki and the writers that they actually took this path. Now, a lot of people are confused by what Joy says here, right? If I remember rightly, she actually says, "Did you have pleasant dreams?" which is a traditional greeting in Hong Kong and China. This is an event that's going to happen. You basically get a job. Joy arranges for you to work at the pier in a warehouse, moving boxes around like this. and the guy you're working with, he's a burly dock worker, and you just have to follow the instructions in the quick time event and you'll be fine. But there is a better way to earn money, and this is why you sold your capsule toys, because you can sell the cassettes at the pawn shops to earn money to play big and small. Now, if you play the game right, see, this is one of the advantages. This is a second tip for you guys. This game allows you to save anywhere and use it to your advantage. You basically place a bet on a number, roll the dice, and you can win 12 times your bet. So in this case, I placed a bet on 5, I got 2 5s, UDM pair, and I won $600. And then right after that, I saved it, gave it another go, won another $600 a couple of turns later. Every time I lost, I just reloaded the game. This is where the game gets interesting, when you meet her. Now, I'm not going to tell you who she is, but she will kick your ass. You don't really stand a chance against her. But she also highlights to you just how futile you are at this moment. Now, this is one of the things that I do want to bring home, is that this game now is, the mystery is still there. You are still hunting for clues, but now it's more about the martial arts. It's more about you learning and understanding the path that you're walking, and that the path of revenge is the path of no return. And nothing highlights that more than scenes like this, where you have the old Grandmaster and you have the temple with all of the students training, and you have the guards with the Chinese broadswords. You know, the whole aesthetic of it is just, it cries out martial arts movie to me. And you know, this is just to give you an idea of just how big the area of exploration is now. I'm going to move from one area to the other, but just keep watching, you'll understand yourselves. Anyway, back to the martial arts bit. One of the great things about this game is that it's a traditional thing in martial arts that you basically start understanding yourself more as you get to the spiritual level of martial arts. And that allows you to progress even further, becoming a true master, grandmaster, whatever. And that's now the road that Ryo is on. And I hope in the third game that they do progress with that, because for me, that was one of the more magical elements of this game, was that it was going down that route. And this is also how Ryo kind of pulls back from the brink, pulls back from becoming Lan Di, becoming exactly like Lan Di was or is now. And that's one of the things that I absolutely adore about Shenmue II. One of the things that I do want to say is that I actually don't think that Shenmue was the game that got everyone addicted. I honestly believe that it's Shenmue 2, and this is one of the reasons why. This is one of the scenes that really sets the tone of this game for me. When you meet the old guy in the park doing Tai Chi under the huge tree with the red leaves, it just screams martial arts movie. It just screams that whole 1970s, 1980s Hong Kong cinema type thing, you know, the old Jackie Chan movies, Drunken Masters and Snake and Eagle Shadow and stuff like that, the old Jet Li movies, even the old Bruceploitation movies that they used to come out with the Bruce Lees and the Bruce Lies and the, you know, all the rest of them. Now, this guy, he is a teacher, he is a master. He will eventually teach you a certain move yourself. But you have to work for it. Like I said, with everything else in this game, you have to work for it. There is a lot of running around in this game as you go from point A to point B to do certain things. There are a lot of what we now call fetch quests. But it's not too bad in this game, because you are working towards a goal, and the game is quite short itself. You could complete the entire game in a couple of days. That's not doing any of the side bits like getting a job if you want to get a job, unless you want to follow my gambling tip and, you know, play big and small, which you'll find in Warehouse 6 of the workers' peer. But anyway, this is after the spar. Ryo obviously doesn't know much about Tai Chi, but neither does this guy know much about what Ryo's style is. He thinks it's a particular style, but he explains, as you can see, that most styles begin with force, develop softness. Tai Chi is the opposite. One of the benefits of having this many teachers for Ryo is that he ultimately pulls back from the precipice. He ultimately pulls back from becoming like Lan Di. And that, I think, is to this game's credit. It shows how the main character is going down this path of revenge, but because of the people he meets in this foreign country, he starts pulling back. He starts understanding a bit more about himself and about who he wants to be in the future. Does he want to be like Lan Di, or does he want to be like his dad? Because don't forget, in the first game, he found out his dad had killed somebody. Now, the reason why Janmin looks like that, you'll find out in a minute. And it is kind of funny. I chuckled. I chuckle every time I see it. But this, this is just the epitome of what this game is about. It's about the martial arts first. And that's basically it. Anyway, let me know what you think of Shenmue II. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know what you think of the video. If you liked it, then subscribe to our channel. You'll find all of the relevant links for the Geek Show below. So anyway, I'll see you on the next video when we'll be talking about some Yakuza.
常に怠ることなく日々修練を積み重ねていく。それが武徳の一つ、こうじゃ。武徳の一つ、こう。